Hello, folks. Welcome back. I'm Jon Najarian, and I have the Crypto Rebels, CJ and Matt with me, as usual. They're the guys that run the show over at Crypto Rebellion. And every day we bring you the Daily Crypto Bytes. Sometimes it's plural, sometimes it's singular. And we appreciate you joining us. Please tell a friend. If you want to subscribe on YouTube, it's free. And you'll get all of the Market Rebellion videos if you do that. Just go to YouTube, type in Market Rebellion, and then click subscribe over on the right side. You'll get this show, you'll get Pete's The Take, you'll get my 3 at 3, some podcasts, AJ Monty, a whole bunch of really cool stuff, all of it free. All the videos are free over at YouTube. And that's why so many of you guys have signed up for it. So thank you. And the disclaimer, yeah, this is for informational and educational purposes only, and maybe even entertainment. And the intellectual property rights are that almost everything we're going to discuss is our intellectual property. So please ask us if you want to reproduce it. So guys, I know you both seemed pretty pleased about the market being in the green for the most part. We're talking, of course, a big sell-off in the NASDAQ yesterday, and yet the NASDAQ green today. The S&P wasn't nearly as bad, but the S&P is up. And Bitcoin, wow, 7% rally nearly, pushed through 54,000 this morning. What do you think?
Yeah, ton of volume coming in during the Asian session last night, really pushing us to new highs. So it's always good to see bullish price action coming out of those kind of market hours. What were you going to say, Monty? I interrupted you.
Yeah, no, like I was just going to say, like you said, this started around 7 p.m. last night. The move started to happen real quick. We got, as you can see, we got a couple very steep green candles and kind of started to plateau a little bit. But this reminds me of what we were talking about yesterday on this show, and that's that beyond 51K, there really isn't much resistance to 58K. So we've seen this just continue to run, and it's been really encouraging.
Well, I'll take that and turn it upside down, Matt. I'll tell you what's discouraging. What's discouraging is Moneygram, because I'm sure you guys saw this, but MGI is a stock called Moneygram. I think all of us kind of can figure out what they do. And they had partnered up with XRP, with Ripple, for, basically instead of moving money, moving Ripple, more or less the banking coin, right? And today they announced, you know what? It's just not working so well. We're going to walk away from this one. And Moneygram was seeing some pressure because of that early on, and then made a nice comeback. I mean, if you guys were to pull up MGI, you would see that in the pre-market, Moneygram was getting tagged, and neither it nor Ripple are down right now. So like I say, kind of talking about turning things around, Matt. I never really understood that particular partnership anyway, but it was something that I talked about early this morning when I was trading before 6 in the morning, Central Time. And all of a sudden, this thing just turns around and rips the other way. And now it's positive on the day. So from a 30% decline to this, maybe they're saying it's not so bad that they got rid of Ripple, I guess.
I got to be honest, I never truly understood that partnership either. And it seemed more like a marketing play on MoneyGram's behalf. Also with Ripple, I'm sure it helped them as well. If you're not familiar with Ripple, they're currently in a lawsuit for dealing and selling XRP as an unregistered security. So not a huge surprise there why MoneyGram would want to dissociate themselves with them. But for the overall market, I think it's good. I think we need regulatory kind of clarity and things like XRP to be kind of washed out of the market, because like our good friend Charlie Shrem did once say, Ripple was a scam from day one.
Well, it was pretty surprising that God, what did that peak out? Did it top $3 at the highs, guys? I want to say some crazy number like that for something with 38 billion coins outstanding. I mean, that one was just a sick move, and probably the biggest example of FOMO that we've ever seen.
That was the top performing asset of 2017, 36,000% in the crypto market. So hey, sometimes they say scams pump the hardest, and it's kind of ironically true.
It is.
I had two bits of, let me just pull these both up if you guys don't mind. I had two news items that I thought the crowd would like. Is it okay if I share it, Matt?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So let's go. Whoop, host disabled screen sharing.
Oh, you want to share? Okay, I see.
Sorry.
Not
that it's terrible. I don't have to show it.
Yeah, I don't know if it would work because it's just the way we got OBS set up on here.
Okay. Well, it was MeToo, MEITU. This is an Asian firm that has been buying Bitcoin, and I forget exactly how many they bought and where they bought it, but they have admitted now that they have, I think, $40 million worth of Bitcoin. And so are more companies in China going to do this more and throughout Asia? Are they going to take their treasuries like Michael Saylor has over at MicroStrategy? My bet is yes. And the other one was that there's this Norway company owned by this billionaire, and the company's name is Aker, A-K-E-R, and they have now decided, you know what, we're going to create a new company just to buy Bitcoin. Why he needed to create a company rather than just doing it on his own, I'm not sure, but he's a billionaire, so he's got the cash, and he basically put 58 million in to Bitcoin. He announced that yesterday, Monday. So
yeah, that was really interesting news. I actually published an article on our website at Market Rebellion, and one of the striking quotes I found that CEO said is that he said in crypto speak, we're going to be hodlers. He's like, we're not going to be as rebellious. We're not going to be rebellious traders or like the cypherpunks. It's like, we're just going to try to add to our stack and accumulate as much Bitcoin we can over the next few years. So based on his quotes, he really has no intention of selling, is really adopting that Bitcoin ethos. And that kind of reminds me, CJ, you shared some pretty interesting Glassnode charts with us last week. And I know there was an update this morning or last night. Did you want to talk about that real quick?
Yeah, absolutely. Aside from traditional technical analysis, we have on-chain volume and on-chain metrics with Bitcoin. So we can perform something called on-chain analysis. So looking at our first chart here, we have a kind of breakdown of long-term holders. And the way in which we can define long-term holders is coins that have not moved in over 155 days. And so throughout our run-up into 42K, we saw a lot of these, smart money, I guess you could call them, long-term holders. They sold into strength going up to 42K during that rally. But we're not seeing that same type of sell pressure now that we're above the 50K level and going up to the 58K level. We saw a lot of profit taking by those large long-term holders going up initially, but we're not seeing it now. And we talked a little bit about this on Trade the Chain, and kind of what it allows me to believe is that a lot of institutions, $50,000 Bitcoin is a lot more appealing to them than an unproven $8,000 or $10,000 Bitcoin. So very interesting stuff, but bottom line, we're just not seeing the sell pressure from the long-term holders like we did in our initial run up to 42K. So a very bullish sign. The next thing from on-chain metrics that I want to talk about is the short-term holders. So we define this by coins that have moved within the last 155 days. And we can kind of get an idea of how these coins have sold, or the people who have had these coins and whether or not they've sold at a loss. And so when we look at this chart and we see that it's gone down past that kind of midpoint, that zero value there, you can see that a majority of people have really sold for a loss and gotten shaken out of the market. And we had a nice little kind of higher low here, or a reset period, I guess you could call it. And what this tells me is that it's very bullish in the market, because we had a lot of bad longs get in the market around 50K, 55K, all around that initial run up to 58K. But when we fell to 43, all of those people got squeezed out of the markets, and all of those bad longs got recycled. And we got kind of that reset in short-term on-chain analysis. So when you pair that with some very nice technicals with Bitcoin currently, it's nice. We're seeing a lot of reduced sell pressure from the overall market participants, and we're seeing some bullish technicals. So always a good sign to see there coming out of Glassnode.
Yeah,
Glassnode puts out lots of great stuff. Sorry to interrupt, Matt.
Yeah, lots of great stuff. And I think, CJ, you make such an interesting point. And it's a point that I sometimes overlook. It's that a 50K Bitcoin is much more appealing to a lot of institutional investors than an 8K Bitcoin was. Myself, as a retail trader, I miss those days of 8K. I wish I could build a time machine and go back. But for these institutional traders like this, like these companies we've been mentioning, 50K Bitcoin is a lot more proven. It's a lot more battle tested. It's kind of like investing in like a unicorn stock company, like maybe Facebook or something. These early investors are taking a big risk by getting in early, but the reward is also significantly higher by making that early move. So I think it's interesting that we're kind of teetering on the brink of more institutional interest flooding in because of the fact that we're above 50K. It's a proven store of value, and it's much more battle tested than it was just a year ago.
I think the market right now kind of went from really overdone in mid-February, guys, when we, topped at 57, 58 for Bitcoin, to more, a lot of both hodlers and traders have been coming in at right around that between 44 and 46,000 level for Bitcoin. And it'll be interesting to see if we indeed hold 54 today, which, we've been pretty strong here. If we hold that, this has been a level 54 to, just a little bit higher, where the trading group has been more or less taking off positions, scalping. And it ain't a bad scalp if you could get in at 47, 48, out at 53, 54. That's a nice scalp. Those wouldn't be the traditional Bitcoiners, certainly wouldn't be the Jimmy Songs and all that of the world that just are going to hodl forever. But we'll keep our eye on that. By the way, do we have the animation for the Doge of the day?
We do. I just pulled it up right now.
Still have the Doge of the day?
About that time, I guess. Doge of the day time.
Doge of the day today, folks, is going to be Mana. This one's Decentraland, trades under the name Mana. I know Matt's talked about this one. Look at that volume when you're looking at the bottom of that, Matt. What I love to see is that March 3rd volume was, relatively low. And it was basically a 25-cent coin. March 4th, look at it start to pick up that volume, and it carried it all the way up into the 45-ish range. Then it kind of plateaus out for several days and the volume falls off. And then as the volume really picks up, March 8th and 9th, because, look at how much it picked up today, it trades through 54. I figured that gives us a room to make that our Doge of the day. Just on that, all of that accumulation and the fact that volume, it's coming on volume. It's not just, a quick pop, which many times can feel like somebody in a chat room or on Reddit or whatever just put out something. Instead, this one has been building and the volume has been building. So from a trader's perspective, that's what I like to see, guys.
Yeah, I agree with you, John. This is one that I've really liked for a while now. And yeah, looking at the charts technically, I think you make a great point about this volume. It looks almost like it had topped here, but then like you said that we've got this massive pickup in volume, allowing the trend to continue to run. So really strong chart for Mana. CJ, I know you had a pretty interesting pick for your Doge of the day. I'm excited to hear what you got.
Nervos Network, CKB, recently added to Voyager within the last few weeks. The reason why I picked this one as the Doge of the day is because it was the leading crypto asset on sentiment data from the 1 hour Twitter sentiment data. Also breaking above the prior swing high from the technicals. So when we got a mix of those sentiments and technicals, that's something I do like to look for in the short term.
So CKB, CJ?
That's correct, yes.
All right, I'm going to type it in here and get a little bit just to see how you
box
do.
here I come.
And you know,
And
funny, CJ?
I'm finally back up on Matt's calls.
There you go.
Yep. Even though a bunch of people were heckling me about Cardano, I don't know if I'll make that a long-term hold or not, Matt.
No, that's
for a trade. For a trade, I'll do it.
Exactly. Yeah, CJ, it's funny. We didn't really even talk about our picks for Doge of the day before today's episode, but my pick for the day is StormX. And what I'm noticing now, I'm going to quickly flash our charts. Mine's on there now, but switching back between our charts, like they're very similar, CKB and StormX in terms of technicals when compared to the rest of the market. And one thing that we look for as crypto traders is kind of these assets that don't necessarily get the pop that the rest of the market gets when Bitcoin goes up. And with assets like StormX that are very low market cap with low, very thin order books, they sometimes get the pop a few days after Bitcoin. So StormX right here, I think, is very well technically positioned with the support from the Williams alligator below, had a nice pop in the most recent candle. But most importantly, one thing I like to always point out is the lack of upward resistance. There's really no resistance at all until 0.014. So that's a long way for this one to run up before seeing any resistance at all. So I think StormX has the potential to break through this all-time high eventually, but in the meantime, there's really no resistance until it hits them. So that is my Doge of the day, StormX.
STMX.
Thank you for sharing that as well, Monty. And I just want to follow up on that point that you say, StormX, as well as the other picks, they've got a very similar chart formation. There are a ton of altcoins on Voyager with a very similar chart formation right now. Two more that I'll just add to that list that you said that look very similar are Elron, that's EGLD, and then Serum, SRM. So just very, very similar stuff going on with some of these assets.
Cool. Well, folks, remember, give some love to Voyager. They are the sponsor of this show. Voyager is commission-free trading of crypto. They have over 50 cryptos. As both CJ and Matt have said, they add more cryptos on a regular basis. And they also pay you interest. I'm not sure if you still have to have 5,000 Voyager tokens to get the highest interest or if it's down to 500, but they pay you interest even if you don't own the token. And they pay up to, I think, 8.5% interest on your deposited crypto. Free trading, lots of great inputs, and it's all there on your cell phone. So it's pretty darn nice for people that are on the go to be able to check out their positions, trade in and out. I trade on that exclusively. I don't trade on the desktop at all for their crypto. So check out Voyager. They are a sponsor. And as usual, tell a friend about the show and subscribe. We appreciate all of you guys listening. You got any wrap up, Matt or CJ, or are we saying goodbye for the day?
CJ?
Yeah, just want to say thanks. We'll be in the community room, of course. And hope you guys all have a wonderful week trading.
Beautiful.
Yep. Thank you, guys. We will
see you tomorrow morning, guys.
tomorrow. Take care.